Okay, so you're an agent, you're running around, you're doing all these things, business is starting to pick up, and now you realize, holy cow, I am swamped, and I'm doing all these minute tasks that really, you realize you're like, I should not be doing this anymore. What the heck do I do? Well, in this video, I'm gonna talk about the way that I found to leverage a lot of the tasks that I do on a daily basis that I no longer needed to do, could easily have someone else do, without having to pay that minimum wage to way over minimum wage price. So let's get into it. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hyde, and on this channel we talk about my experiences being an agent as I move forward in this industry, as well as what it's like being at eXp Realty. And I'm always getting team leaders, brokers, agents reaching out, talking about getting an honest opinion of moving to eXp Realty, and I absolutely love it. So if that's you, you're thinking of making the move, or you just want an honest opinion of whether it's the right fit for you, then reach out, give me a call, text, email, whatever you have to do. I have your back on moving to eXp Realty. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button to be notified every time I drop a new video. All right, so getting into it. In this video, I am talking about leveraging yourself as an agent. So after my first year and a half in the industry, I started to realize like there are certain things that I wanted to do that I just couldn't seem to find time to fit in my plate, and also just running into tasks daily that I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I could get rid of this, I would have so much more time to do this task or X task. And I think we all hit that point. And if you're watching this video and you haven't realized that, hey, maybe I should start leveraging my time, either one, like you're just getting started and you're not getting busy enough, or two, like you just love running around like with a chicken with your head cut off. And if that's you, then yeah, go ahead and leave the video. But I promise you want to stay tuned for the rest of this video, so that way you can be notified about how you should be able to leverage yourself for cheaper than you normally would expect. So obviously here in the United States, or maybe even many other countries around the world, you know, minimum wage, like let's say in California, like it's $15 an hour. Right? And sure, like some of us, like I started in the industry as an ISA, getting paid $500 per closing, but it all comes down to like a large amount of money that you need to pay. And those of us who maybe aren't full on a team, or maybe we're just getting started, maybe we're starting to get close to that six-figure mark, or even at that six-figure mark, and you're like, wow, I really don't want to have to pay a full salary for someone to come in and just like take over this task. Well, I'm going to give you a little story here about how I found how to leverage that. So at the end of my first year in real estate, I started to, obviously I had closings, I had income coming in, and the business had money left aside to be able to put towards something, right? Aside from like, you know, the income generating activities, you know, the stuff that I needed to be involved in. I'm like, you know what? Like I really wanted to push into more video. I was getting more comfortable with being on video. I was like, you know what? But I don't like editing. And I think that was my big block that I had. I'm like, you know what? If I could find someone to do this, I'm all for it. So what do that most of us do? I went on Fiverr. I went on Upwork, and I started to search for video editors. I'm like, holy cow, you know, it's like 20, 30, 40 bucks a video. And I'm like, well, if I really wanted to go all in with this, like I'm going to start adding up these insane costs, not to mention it's someone who's not devoted to me. You know, it's not part of my company. It's not part of me. They're just someone who just picks up extra work. And I'm one of their many, many clients. So what if like they fall apart? What if they get sick? Like I'm ruined. So I started to look into it, and thankfully where I'm at in eXp, I got put in touch through an interview with, you know, Justin Nelson and Sphere Rocket. And that's how I got into the idea of using a virtual assistant. So I think for the most part, this is a buzzword, right? As agents, if you haven't heard it, you will soon, and you're hearing it in this video. And it's using a virtual assistant, someone who works outside of the United States, who, you know, gets paid hourly, is technically a contractor, and they help you, you know, through your daily work environment through different tasks. Well, there's a lot of different companies, and for the most part, like my assumption was like, hey, like I'm gonna have to pay like $9 an hour for a VA. It's still cheaper than the minimum wage, but I'm like, man, it's still like, I don't know if I have the money for that. Well, come to find out, you know, thankfully, you know, another person at eXp just out there crushing it and changing the world. Justin created a company called Sphere Rocket. And what they do, unlike most, is they help you source and find the perfect person for you for the task that you need to accomplish. And unlike, so most companies are charging you $9 an hour. I'm not here to name any other names, but like what happens is a lot of times you're paying them $9 an hour. They're turning around paying the VA $3 or $4, and they're taking everything off the top. And sometimes there's a contract associated with it, which is freaking crazy. Like, you know, they're supposed to be your assistant tied to you, but yet you're paying that extra money, and the VA is not actually getting much benefit out of that. Well, what Sphere Rocket did is you pay a fee up front. So I did get a small discount being a veteran. But, you know, for your first VA through them, if you're just getting one, it's going to be about $4,000, right? And that covers about 90 days or the entire process if it ends up being longer to source your VA. They go out there, they find the people in the Philippines, you know, specifically who have experience in what you're doing. They have, like, they're qualified, really. And they help you set up an interview along with the Sphere Rocket team. Along with that, they also give you training about how to onboard and take care of your VA out the gate. Like they set you up right off the bat. And a lot of people were like, you know, I was at first, it's like, oh my God, like $4,000. Like, I don't know if I can just spend that right now. Honestly, looking back at that, like I wish I would have done it sooner. And I can't wait to do my second because it just has completely changed how much I can get done and like honestly the level of like ability. Because like the way like my video editor is able to edit my videos, there is no way I could do that level of work. Like I have a basic understanding. As I think we all should in getting a task done. You need to have a basic understanding and process for how that should work or what your goal is for that. So that way you can train them, because guess what? Like Sphere Rocket can help you put them in place, but it's still like, you know, have like you're an employer, right? Or while they're not technically employees, like it's still like you have that mindset of like I'm in charge of someone, and I, you know, whatever they do wrong, like I probably didn't, you know, I didn't give a good enough idea of how to get it done. So yeah, so I ended up making the jump. I paid the money, and right out the gate, huge storm in the Philippines like they haven't seen in forever. No internet, major power outages, and here I am. I just spent this money, and now I'm like, oh no. Now, like, you know, Sphere Rocket put out, because they do have a US based team, and then a lot of their, you know, their employees are based out of the Philippines, and they were like, hey, like your interview that we gave you a date, yeah, we're gonna have to push it back. And I'm like, oh no, okay. Went through the holidays. Tried to enjoy the holidays, was also a little stressed at the same time, and finally we came down to it. Okay, everything's back up. We are now scheduling an interview for January. This is January of 2022. I'm like, okay, super nervous. By that time, I had thankfully gotten more processes in place. I went through the training they provide. I have all the systems set up that they recommend for paying, for tracking systems, for communication, and I jumped into it. And what's amazing is that first interview, I got to interview about 9 different candidates for this position. I got to see, you know, talk to them, ask them questions. The Sphere Rocket representative asked them questions as well to get the conversation flowing, and I got to see work that they have done as video editors. Obviously, for any job, like there's more you can ask, and when it comes to, like, say, administrative assistants, like, or jobs related to that, you actually get, and I get this with the video editor too, but you get a full breakdown of their, like, how they are as their personality profile, their disc profile. There you go, that's the word of it. And you get a full disc profile, and on top of the work that they've done before, so that way you can have a full idea of how that person works and operates, and if it fits with your personality. It's awesome, and I think it's like for the money you pay, it's so worth it. And the great thing is like, you know, after interviewing all the people, like one stood out. You know, they put them all back in the waiting room, and the representative from Sphere Rocket will sit down with you and say, what do you think? I'm like, I think this person, you know, these are my top 3. I want to talk to them again. We approached them, talked with them, came back. This is the one. And I can tell you, like, I don't know, like, I've had an amazing experience with the video editor that I hired, and obviously he's editing this video, so thank you, Brave. I appreciate you like crazy. Like, it has definitely made a huge change in my business, because while I'm out, you know, I'm wearing like 1,000 hats, like all of us are now. You know, I'm paying a really good price on our standards. But it's still, you know, because here in the United States, things are crazy expensive. As of, you know, right now, they're just keep going up. But it's still paying a great wage. I make sure I take care of him. We have a great structure in place, and I'm always there to like help, even though we're across the world. But having that person in place, and now like that's so much off my plate. Now I went from, you know, beginning of the year having no YouTube channels, no video out in the place, to at the time of this recording this video, I now have a living in channel in Orlando. and I get to have videos fully booked out. I have him managing my channel. I have this angel right here trying to help other agents who are lost like I was and getting that off my plate and managed. And then I also am actually posting on social media daily. And now he's taking that off. He's about to take that off my plate too. And all I have to do is think of the top level, and he's able to help take care of those tasks. And I, of course, take care of him in the process because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And once you realize you can start leveraging this ability, like I think every agent has something they can leverage. And being able to go through a company like Sphere Rocket and be able to get that ability to do that is absolutely insane. And if you're like, you follow anyone in my upline, obviously we are heavy on YouTube, living in YouTube channels, YouTube ads, and things like that. Like it involves someone who's able to work with you, build to your brand kit, and like put your face out there. And now that was a limiting belief. And now, like, sure, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you spent $4,000, you're paying $4 an hour, or, you know, the range is like 3 to 6, depending on the position and what you need them to do. But now you're paying that hourly. That's crazy. That's insane. I'm like, yeah. And you know what? I went from not being in a position to getting my brand out there to where now I'm making actual progress in my business, getting all kinds of video content out there. Like clockwork. It's a system. We got it dialed in. We have a meeting every day. I don't know, but if you're like me, I thrive being in a team environment. And if you're like me and went independent, well, now you have a team environment to where you can get out there and you're in charge. Like now it feels like I have a reason to go to work. And like, yeah, like I want to support my family, but now I have someone who relies on, you know, the work they do for me to feed their family. And now that's why it's so important, because now I feel like I have extra drive to get out there, do it, and make it work. So it is an amazing experience. But think about it, it's not just video editing, right? Like you think about all the tasks we do as realtors. And you go to like the Sphere Rocket website, like you can see a whole list of all the tasks like their VAs have done for their clients. And what's funny is they use this process themselves. They use all VAs themselves. And just because it's a VA doesn't mean it's someone who like can't speak English or doesn't know anything. Like some of the top names in the industry use, like look at my top upline, Chuck Fazio and his wife Angela. They use VAs. I found out when I interviewed my VA before I shot this video, because I wanted to get his perspective of being the VA getting hired, that he was actually interviewed by Chuck right before he got me. Thankfully, he didn't go with them. You know, life happened, and thankfully I got to have him on my team now, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But, you know, because then some people come at it, right, and they're like, oh man, like, you know, these VAs are just, you know, like $4 an hour or whatever, like they're just completely, like, you're just hurting people. But like when I got to talk with Braid before this, when we were having that conversation, I just wanted to hear what his experience was going through the process. Like it has still allowed him great freedom, and obviously it's still my job to make sure I give him a great, you know, schedule and time to where like I won't ask him to do stuff, you know, certain days to where he can have time with his family. I actually changed like the schedule to where we communicate to fit the schedule of his girlfriend. She's also a VA. And being allowed to have this flexibility, this team, to where now I really feel like I can conquer anything, and I can't wait to actually expand and hire my next. Because I already know, because now once you experience leverage for the first time and having those people that are experts in this specific field and task to go out there and do what they do best, and allowing you to do it we do best, which is close deals, have actual appointments with buyers and sellers, people that are looking to make real estate decisions. And also just have even having your morning free. Instead of having to do all these minute tasks that we do every day, now you can sit down and actually focus on top level things where you want your business to go. And that's what I tell everyone is you have to at least hire one. And if you don't like it, so be it. But I'm telling you that once you experience leverage, like, and I don't even care if like you're like, well, I don't want to do video, Cameron. Like, I just want to do like, you know, I'm a cold caller, and or even if you're on a team, right? Like, oh, I'm on a team. I've had this before from other agents who reach out. Well, I'm on a team. Like, why would I like go out there and just like hire a VA when my team does a lot of things for me? I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you like managing your CRM? Do you like managing your social media? Well, no, like I really don't. I'm like, great. I'm like, hire someone who has had experience doing it. They can do it better than you, because I'm sorry, just because you wear all the hats does not mean you're good at everything that you do. It just is what it is. And admitting that like, wow, I could really use someone that's an experienced expert in this field and getting it. And that's what I found. And I'm telling you, once you have that experience leverage for the first time, it will completely change your business and allow you to be amazed at how much more progress you can make. Because now, as one singular person, as a single agent, you have like 8 to 12 hours, whatever, a lot of us work crazy hours in a workday, to now you got double that. You got an extra 8 hours because your VA might be working on tasks that you've had them work on. And it's absolutely insane the ability that this allows you to do in your business. And like I've even gone to, I don't care if it's like the EXP Christmas party or if it's other agent events, and people just like, a lot of them just don't have leverage. And like you look at right here in like San Diego, right? Some of the top 2 teams in San Diego, especially with EXP, Kyle Whissel, Dan Beer, they all use VAs, and even Kyle Whissel has used VAs from this company. And do you have to use this company? No, you don't. I just had an amazing experience. Those better than me have had amazing experiences, and they continue to use them. I'm telling you, at least reach out and have a free consultation. And this, I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not getting any money from them. I literally just can't believe how much it has changed my life and has allowed me to really make solid progress. And another note also is like a lot of times I struggle with I'm not doing enough. Well, when the money started to come in, I'm able to take a small piece of that and put it towards an assistant and someone like this who can go out there, they're an expert, they get it done. And now I'm like, wow, I'm making so much progress. I'm like, I need more. I want a virtual assistant for everything. If I could, as I'm slowly building and scaling, it's because I don't want to have to do any of that stuff because I know I'm not great. I'm managing CRM, paperwork. You can even hire a transaction coordinator. I hire mine out per transaction, but that's another thing that they do offer. And it's insane, right? The ability to leverage everything. And I know we all have something. And if you're thinking about this and you're like, hey, I want to go get leverage, check them out. I think it's worth the look, at least getting a free consultation. Again, not getting paid. It just has completely changed my business and something I wanted to share with everyone. So without that, if you're looking to make the move to EXP, I have your back. Reach out, call, text, email, whatever you have to do. I absolutely love having this conversation with the agents day in and day out. Or if you just want to hear my one-on-one experience of what I felt, the nitty-gritty of hiring a virtual assistant, then reach out as well. I'm happy to talk to anyone and share my experiences so that way you can maybe avoid some pitfalls or maybe some other tasks that I probably would have leveraged sooner than others. Reach out. And also with that, I will see you in the next video.